I Saved a Life Today by Romona Peterkin. It was a cold December evening. The sun was setting and I was just coming to the end of my census taking. My name is Kelsey George, a registered census taker working with the Statistic Institute of Jamaica, Statin. Today, I was assigned to the Grand Sea Hotel in Montego Bay to take a census of staff, managers, and others who considered the hotel their permanent residence. I expected a routine afternoon and found myself walking into a human trafficking crisis. I arrived at a section of the beautiful Grand Sea Hotel that hosted a string of private resident villas along the coast of the Caribbean Sea. Tired, I sighed to myself. Only a few more rooms to go. I knocked firmly on the door of villa number 1103. The door opened slowly and a young woman, no older than 21 years old, appeared. Before I could introduce myself, I noticed fresh cuts on her arms and deep dark bruises around her collarbone. "Good afternoon, miss," I spoke, trying to keep my voice as calm as possible. She opened her mouth to speak, but the words could not escape. "Who is at the door?" A harsh male voice echoed from inside the villa. In a split second of the distraction, the young lady stepped forward and locked eyes with me, a look of terror on her face. She slowly raised her arms to her chest where her wounds were visible, a covert signal for help. "Just a census taker, uncle," she said with a shaky voice as she quickly wrapped a blanket to cover her bruises. A tall, heavy-built man stepped into view. With cold, highly suspicious stare, he barked, "We don't do census here." He grabbed the clipboard from my hands and scribbled some frictional numbers, then shoved the board back to my chest and slammed the door. I forced myself to remain calm and quickly walked down the gravel path away from the villas. Once I was at a safe distance, I hid behind a cluster of palm trees. With trembling fingers, I dialed the National Task Force Against Human Trafficking in Person hotline. "Hotline, how can I assist?" answered the operator. "I need to report a suspected human trafficking case. I am at the Grand Sea Hotel taking a census. I just encountered a young woman exhibiting severe signs of physical abuse. She signaled a bruise on her hand when her observer was in the back of the room, and there were other visible bruises and cuts on her body. I advised the operator of the room number and where I was. The operator took the information and advised me to leave the area. In a matter of minutes, representatives from the Anti-Trafficking in Person and Intellectual Property Vice Squad, a specialized unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force responsible for human trafficking investigations, showed up. I retreated to a nearby cafe where I could still monitor the situation. From there, I witnessed two unmarked SUVs pull up into the villa. Highly trained officers in plainclothes surrounded the perimeters of the villa. Two officers walked straight to the front door and knocked loudly. When the main controller opened the door, attempting to shout over them, the squad moved forward with absolute authority. "Jamaica Constabulary Force, step back, sir," an officer commanded, moving past him into the dwelling to secure the space. Moments later, the young woman was escorted out of the villa by a female officer who gently wrapped a blanket over her bruised shoulders. The hostile male was brought out in handcuffs, his aggressive demeanor completely broken as he was loaded into the back of a police vehicle. As the vehicle drove away towards the precinct, I looked down at the clipboard in my hands. A routine check had successfully transformed into a rescue operation, giving a vulnerable survivor her freedom back. Closing note. Traffickers often operate under the guise of legitimate businesses or relationships, making it challenging to recognize their true intentions. They adapt their tactics to exploit modern technology and social media, targeting individuals through online platforms and personal networks. Communities may not always be aware of the signs or the presence of trafficking within their midst, which makes public education and awareness crucial. By staying informed and vigilant, people can better recognize subtle warning signs and support efforts to prevent trafficking before it occurs.